Well, man, that was a long day yesterday. I think the sale went great, and then the day ended up great. Could have been better. We had a break from Raging Hanover. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we had a fifth place finish from Gorgeous Package. You know, as Chris, one of my partners, pointed out, was she okay? Did she seem flat? I asked the same thing, but ultimately, you can only go so fast, right? And I believe the comment from Tyler after the race was just a little too much for her, I think. 51. That horse was a layover last night. One of those horses that dropped in and kind of crushed everybody. 51 off half and 56. That's condition speed. That's not condition claimer speed. And that's exactly what happens when you stuff a condition horse into a condition claimer event. Listen, we've done it enough times. You guys know what it looks like, and that's exactly what happens. So kind of sucked the engine oil out of her, I think, and then running into the last turn, trying to catch up to speed is not her forte. And then again, when they come out of the turn, the horse had drawn away, which kind of, I would say, broke her spirit a little bit, and she got picked off on both sides. Just beat for second, but ended up fifth. So, before we get to the racehorse, because we had three great races before those two, we're going to talk about a number of things. So, all right, I want to collect my thoughts here. The sale yesterday I thought was great. Now, I had made a video earlier. It was going on 15 minutes, and I got a call from a friend, one of our clients, that I had to take, and I cut the video off. And as we were talking, he goes, "Wow, you're probably just rambling anyway," which I was. So, no loss. You should thank him for cutting the video down. So yesterday's sale went virtually exactly how I told you it would go, in the sense that the in ranges and the Ready for Monies took all the market share of the trotting sires, which you might say, we didn't get an in range or a Ready for Money. It's okay. Here's the thing, and no disrespect to anybody, but I'm going to give you my opinion, and I believe it's unbiased, because I love Ready for Monies. I haven't had an in range yet, but I've raced against enough of them to know I like them also. And he's had a great showing of himself in the first crop. Both sires have. But I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial to some people out there. They weren't layovers. They were just good horses. People forget, Sugar Instead and that Hattie filly, those were Volsteads 2 years ago. Two of the best fillies to race in Ohio, probably in the last decade. What happened to Volstead? All of a sudden, he's not. What happens with a lot of these sales is, right, it's flavor of the day. Right? And as much as I wanted to buy an in range or Ready for Money, I wanted to pay too much for neither. I wasn't going to pay 60,000 for a horse that I priced at 28. When I got to the sale, you're on shaky ground, right? First start out of the bullpen. It's our first sale. I'm trying to price the horses. I priced them the way I thought they should be priced, what I thought was fair market, what I thought I would pay for them. What I found was, and I'll tell you a little story in a minute, which was kind of interesting to me. What I found was the pacing colts were a lot softer yesterday across the board. No particular sire. The pacing colt, the pacing colt division was weak at the sale yesterday. I can tell you my thoughts on that. Probably because Ron Burke's horses are going so fast and crushing everybody. Everybody's like, well, I don't want to. I have to go in 50, 51 my first start. Well, I got some bad news for you. We had to go in 53 in the trotting filly division this year, first start. There's no hiding from speed or talent. This division, this state is getting tougher. They're getting better sires, better mares. They're going faster. But the idea that we should just pay more for them because, I'm sorry, that's kind of lost on me. Because you can take every in range. You can take every Ready for Money and say, these horses are superior to the other sires and the other foals and the other yearlings and 2-year-olds now about to race next year. Cool. Only 3 or 4 of them are going to make all the money. So if you're overpaying for every single one of them, which for the most part, in my estimation, they did, well, you're going to be really unhappy to come next year. I'm sorry, but I'm going to stick to value. you know, when you look at horses like the first horse, here's a horse that I loved, right? That was, what was her name? I'll just call her by what I knew her by. What a Mission Sister. Here's the first horse that we bought. The first one that we bought, Sweet and Steady. I had her marked at 28. We paid 33. Fair ball. I went over a little bit more than I was supposed to. This was the number one pick of David with his AI program, was number 54 for the must-have list. I thought her video was great. Even more impressive was herself, the horse herself in person. Number 54. You remember, I made the video on my way to the sale. Guys, I don't even have to be there till number 43. This was the first one, and although I gave you a list of 51 yesterday, because that was my whittled down list from 86 was to 51. Any one of those 51 horses, green light, and we got all of our 10 in that list of 51. So I didn't color outside the lines, but what I didn't tell you was I whittled that 51 down to 20 after that. And of that list of 20, which was hard to do, by the way, we got 8 horses from that list in the sale yesterday. And as I talked to you about it, I told you, I like to call them the storylines of the sale. I knew that in range, and I knew very well that Ready for Money, those two sires were going to get, let's say they were going to be sought after. I don't want to tell anybody you paid too much for your horse. What the hell do I know? Whatever you felt your horse was worth, that's what you paid for it. You're happy, good for you. Let's say they were highly sought after. That meant the stronger the need or the supposed need for an in-range and for a Ready for Money, it's simple supply and demand. The more the need, the higher the cost. And there was a supposed need for in-range and Ready for Money. I will say this with confidence. By no means is in-range or Ready for Money a down by the seaside from 4 or 5 years ago where he was completely dominant in the pacing division. Both fillies and colts. There is no comparison between what Down by the Seaside did and what In Range and Ready for Money did this year. Ready for Money and In Range, fresh sires, look good. Their horses were, strong competitors. Both are Ready for Money's beautiful fillies. But we've also had a ton of luck with What the Hills. And the one note I made to everybody was, 2-3 years ago, you couldn't buy a Volstead. Everybody wanted them 2 years ago for sure. Last year, people were buying the in-ranges, but their first crop. They're buying the in-ranges, they were buying the Ready for Monies, but Volstead was still highly sought after. You're always going to have the stalwarts for us. Listen, when I started buying What the Hills, I hated them because they were rude and ignorant, and you had to work them and work them and work them. What we found out was they just need a little more work than everybody else. All the other breeds that we had needed X work. And What the Hills that we got needed X plus work. Everyone was a little different. They all needed a little more. And they have done us so much good that I knew going into the sale we were going to be able to buy whatever What the Hills we wanted, likely for less than what we wanted to pay for them. And you know what? Volstead might be on the chopping block too. There might be some Volsteads grossly underpriced. And there was. And again, in my estimation, take that with a grain of salt. You might look at this video and say, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about anyway. You might be right. My estimation, in my humble opinion, the in-ranges and Ready for Monies, for the most part, were overpriced yesterday. And in the same humble opinion and estimation, the Volsteads were greatly discounted. The What the Hills were passed over. And that's where we did our work yesterday. Now, the one thing I also did was, I found it very weird yesterday. I'm starting to ramble again. I found it very weird yesterday. One of the bid spotters, and I've got to know all of them, right? We bid on so many horses, I got to know all of them. A gentleman come over to me and he said, they're having a good sale in reference. Yes, sweetheart. Addie, it's a 2-hour drive. We've been driving for like 18 minutes. It's 2 hours, sweet. It's going to be a while. Make sure your iPad's plugged in. Okay, well, then you'll be fine. You know what? I'm proud of you. That your entire life, when you got sick, you were sick for like a week and you missed school. You never missed one day of school when you were sick last week. Not one day. You're I'm tough. You're a good girl. So, he had said to me, he said, pacing culture a little soft today. And I said, yeah, a little bit, yeah. And then as he walked away, it dawned on me, how the hell would he know this? He must have heard them talking at the booth, right, at the stand, the auctioneer stand. There's no possible way, as in real time, he was taking bids. He had enough mental fortitude to say, you know what, that horse went for too little, that horse went for too little, that horse should have went for more. So it must have been discussed at the booth. And they're right, they were. Which led to one of two my happiest purchases yesterday. I was not surprised at all when I got to the sale. A little frustrated. You guys knew I wanted Periwinkle. You knew that. But what we bought was not surprising, except for the pacing colts. The roan colt, here's the Summa Cum Laude, who also got chewed up yesterday. Why? Horse had a tremendous year as a sire. Summa Cum Laude. We bought that roan colt. Usually there is, as Steve said, a gray tax. This is a big, gorgeous looking colt. Looks nothing like I'm Fancy Like. I'm Fancy Like was smaller and sleek. She was such a miserable little pig to break also. But ended up being one of my favorite horses to drive as a 2 and 3-year-old. This is her big, strong brother, and this thing's a giant. I had him marked for a lot of money. And I don't know if I would have paid that for him, but that's what I thought he was worth. And we actually got him for a lot less, $20,000, the Summa Cum Laude. And this is following what a horse that I wanted, number 54, right? Like we start off the sale, I paid $5,000 more for Sweet and Steady than I thought I might have to. But given all the circuit, given everything that I knew the brother, this horse, this is the first year we've ever had anybody input AI and put them and obviously computers. As I said to David, computers are great. They don't know the horses. They haven't seen them. They don't know conformation. Nobody's inputted that. Their size, their athleticism. You're looking at the analytics of their pedigree. And I have to take that with a grain of salt, and so does he. This is a beautiful filly. Volstead's. So as she sells for 33, I'm thinking, Volstead's going to do okay today. That changed quickly. Summa Cum Laude, I couldn't believe that this horse only brought $20,000. And I know the family outside, like Matt on the Rock's an older horse way down at the bottom. And I'm Fancy Like everybody say, all right, who cares? Made $100,000, winning 52 or something. Lots of horses do that. But I know her. And I liked her. So I think we're off to a great start. I'm laughing. I'm happy. Here comes the next Volstead. I got her at 32. I marked her higher than the first filly. We buy her for 22. Flip-flop. One I thought would bring 28. We paid 33. The other one I thought brought 32. We paid 22. Now, between the colt and this filly, I'm like, in my mind, we're way ahead if I mark these horses properly. Then we get to the Down by the Seaside. This was the biggest surprise of the day, was that Down by the Seaside. So where did all the pacing money go? I know that they go fast, but so do the trotters. They all go fast. I was a little surprised here. I thought this filly would, honestly, I'll tell you what I marked her. I marked her 90. Down by the Seaside, first foal from a sister to Peaky Sneaky. Worldly Beauties in the third dam. Beautiful filly. I'm thinking she brings 90. I'm not buying her for 90. I marked them fairly. Make a decision later on if they're going to. I'll tell you how nice this filly was. She was on Amy's list. Amy rarely puts pacers on her list. She put Belladale on her list. We bought her for 42, and I'm thinking, big discount on the Colt, discount on the Volstead, gigantic discount also on the Down by the Seaside. Things are going good. I'm thinking, all right, we get the filly to come out of the field. We just bought the Down by the Seaside. Don't need any more pacing fillies. We need a couple of pacing colts. What about the Monty Mickey that you love? Now, I was a little I was a little hard on the Pacers. I tried to mark them as tight as I could because it's tough to find value sometimes. How are the Monty Mickeys going to be received? I'll be the first to admit their videos weren't great. But in person, oh my God, they were gorgeous. Barcelona Mickey, number 98. This is a highly producing mare. Now, this is 12 full. I get it. It is. This mare's produced a lot of racehorses, stake horses. She's produced a lot. And she's a sister to Bulldog Hanover. Enough said. I had him marked at 27, which, as he walked in the ring and I knew I was looking for a colt, I just bought the filly. I knew I was looking for a colt. I'm thinking 27 might be low. Would I go to 32? Let's just see what happens. $17,000 we bought the horse for. I know this is a bit of a recap, same as yesterday. I apologize for that. Down by the Cowboy. I don't want to talk too much about him because I raved about him yesterday. I talked a lot about him today. This was, to me, quietly going to be a standalone purchase. That high-end pacer that we bought, or high-end horse that we bought in Ohio. This was the one. I didn't tell anybody that, but this is the one I thought it would be. We paid $127,000 for his full brother 2 years ago. He got injured and passed away. This is a beautiful horse. $25,000. I was blown away. I couldn't believe down by the seasides that they were so discounted. And you can say, well, he's a little older. Guys, better's the light. Those things were taking money. Like, he is literally riding off into the sunset. And whatever semen they can collect and breed mares to, they get it. They breed them, and people still buy them. So the idea that down by the seaside's a little long on the tooth is incorrect. Then the What the Hill started. 2:30, I don't have to talk too much. The horse is an amazing looking animal. I have no idea if it'd be good or not. Amazing looking animal. Rose Run Chief, 13, again, Volsteads. They did take a little bit of a hit. I think that was not surprising. What the Hills were, though. The next one, the What the Hill, next to nothing. Love this filly's video. And then closed out the sale with another What the Hill. Now, the storyline behind this horse is pretty cool. 24K Magic, first full, brought 100,000 in range. This is a What the Hill out of a full sister, out of a half sister to 24K Magic. I'm not going to judge the horse besides. It's not fair. I thought the 24K Magic colt was a little small. I think this one's a giant. This one brings 11. That one brings 100. You figured it. I can't. So that was the sale yesterday. That's your last update of the sale, as we're going to start moving these shares around over the next 2 days. So now, quickly, I'll pivot to the racehorses. Sorry, your last video was actually shorter than this one's going to be. It's my fault. Just excited. I was happy about the sale. Then yesterday, we start the day with Neptune. Amy and I are driving towards the Meadows. Neptune wins in 52. No, last night, Mummy and I went to the Meadows. I raced last night at the Meadows. We went from the sale in Ohio all the way to the Meadows. I raced the horses, and then Mom and I drove home. You were asleep when we got home, Turkey. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Neptune wins at the Meadows. I'm happy. Pumped. Stacy calls me and she says, Brett and I are both sick. She goes, yo, mister, what do you want to do with him? I said, what do you mean? She goes, who do you want to drive him? I said, Stacy, it's as simple as this. It's sale season, it's sale day. Just put a driver on that's going to do the best he can that isn't going to cause me headaches. How's that? She hands on Carson Conrad. Now, I met Mr. Conrad in Oak Grove a couple of years ago. Nice kid. Does a good job. And if Stacy said he was the right man for the job last night, so be it. Wasn't second guessing her. I get a couple of messages right before the race. Who's Carson Conrad? Please, Carson Conrad, please win with the horse, because I don't want to spend the rest of the night talking about Yo Mister's race when I could and should be talking about the baby. So, a great job by Carson Conrad, a winner with Yo Mister. He looked great. Looks like money. I don't think there was a lot of doubt he was going to win in my mind. They got away from the gate. The kid there got Spicy, whatever his name is, away good. Brady had left out with Activation, our old horse. I just said, drop Activation, come with the horse, game over. And that's exactly what I did, and exactly what happened. Horse raced great. Very happy to see him do well again this week. And then, unfortunately, Raging Hanover makes a break in the Meadowlands. Looked like he was making a big move in the last turn and made a break. Megan is in Ontario. She said, listen, He's a difficult horse to drive, and it's tough to find drivers in the Meadowlands right now. The Meadowlands is closing soon. Why don't you just take the horse back with you? You can race him at the Meadows or send him over to Ontario. That way, I don't feel bad, and you can get the horse back on track. Hopefully, I assume. So, Raging Hanover is coming to Northfield. We'll square maybe the Meadows. Maybe we'll race him maybe once at the Meadows. But his ultimate destination will be Ontario. That's the plan with Raging Hanover. And then Gorgeous Package race last night. She pays $52.29 or $53.29. You know, a couple of our clients, Chris had asked me, one of our clients, it said, geez, was everything okay? Is there something wrong with Gorgeous Package? As I said, I just don't think she can go fast enough, right? I think that horse sped up hard in the last turn. And Gorgeous Package has done this, right? Any of her poor miles is where she's been stretched out early in the mile, right? Big first halves, faster third quarters, she's softened. And in this case, chasing a horse that's faster. That horse was not a condition claimer in that race last night. They did a great job classifying her. They put her in where she was gonna mop them, and at no point did Chris Page look worried that she wasn't going to. And she absolutely jogged. So, just beat for second and third, ended up fifth. Raced good. We are going to have the vet look at her. We did draw blood this morning just to make sure. I'm not going to just pass it off as, oh well, I'm sure she was just stretched out. No, I want to make sure. We drew her blood today. The vet's going to go all over her. My one comment would be, the year's been so tough in both divisions, I don't think she's going to make the Buckeye final. So I think what I might do, just race her in the fair race. And I don't mean the tough fair race. I think the fair race. Just give her an easy start. Doesn't even count towards her wins. So she hopefully will go out and win the race, have an easy win, and that will springboard her back into that condition claiming rank when she goes down to Dayton. That would be my thought right now going through. That's my question to you. Do you think that's a better path? Because the Buckeyes can be tough. She draws a snug Buckeye, 6-7 hole, she might not get a piece. Or a small piece. And all the fair race is only probably going to go for 4, 5, 6,000. I don't want to be presumptuous, but I would say she'll likely win that. She's going to get all of that money, as opposed to whatever she might get in the Buckeye. Now, it is worth noting, if she wins the Buckeye, can she make it in the final of the consolation? Yeah, I want to think, yeah, right? So we're going to go over the math of that also and see which is the best course for Gorgeous Package next week. Foxy Seaside will be heading to the Buckeye. She's not eligible for the stake race, the fair race. So that's the plan for them next week. So a few little updates. Raging Hanover is coming to Ohio, and he may go to the Meadows or he may go to Ontario. I doubt he'll race at Northfield Park, but he'll go to the Meadows or he'll go to Mohawk from there. Gorgeous Package, we drew her blood. The other three horses all won and all looked very, very good. I'm on my way over to the Meadows right now to race some horses. Really excited about, I always love racing, two of my favorite horses to race are in today, right? Arrowhead Hanover and Time Is On My Side are in today. Perfect Thoughts, our last race of the night, 7:54 at night. Perfect Thought is in also. I thought she was picked to win at 9-5. She's picked for second. And rightfully so. She's in with some killers. Lua Deepa's in there. That's Burke's good filly from Pennsylvania. And the other filly from Pennsylvania is too in there. So it's going to be a snug race, but it is an elimination race for the final next week. So we'll see how that plays out. But for right now, I am done with this video. I'll do an opening video, some videos with you today.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Some videos for you today. And get them out to you tomorrow. But really happy with the way the sale went. I hope that's it's a long, what are you going to do? It's a Saturday. You need 24 minutes to listen to me ramble. It's a good sale. I was happy with how it went. I was not surprised at all. And as I said, 7 or 8 out of the 10 we bought were on my short list of 20 that you didn't get. All of the 10 were on my list of 50-something that you did get. I was happy with our purchases. Saw them all today. Which one do you like, Addie?
Gray.
The gray? That's shocking. We'll bring you guys some videos in the next day or two of them going. We didn't go with them today because I had to come to the Meadows. But I might sneak in tomorrow. Maybe Amy and I'll sneak in tomorrow and throw the harness on a couple for you. Maybe. Take care. Have a wonderful Saturday. Have a great weekend. The weather's great here. I hope it is great wherever you are. We'll talk to you all very soon.